there, it's me, Nita Rose, and welcome to my channel. And this is the manga review of Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest Volume 21, starting with Chapter 181 titled The Potential of Ice, and ending with the Chapter 189 called Dragon's Banquet. Carla and Wendy manage to destroy the Lacrima and free Selene, causing her to come back to her senses, but also seem completely drained of her magic. Wendy and Carla are willing to help out Gray, but gets trapped inside a magic block barrier that is created by Varanus. So Gray must defeat Varanus on his own, but he used alchemy to turn the magic in the air unusable. And he also learned the nature of Gray's ice and dark magic, and because of that, Varanus can negate all magic abilities. He remembers during a time when Natsu's flame affected his gold body, which caused it to be destroyed, but he also thought of one other thing. He created flames from his ice by using his Maker magic, which is pretty unique in its own way, because for what I remember, Maker magic can give the wizard the ability to shapeshift anything with their elemental ability. I've seen Gray make cannons, animals, and any type of weapons, but this might be the first time I've seen him create a different element than his own. So this is like a new step up for Gray. Although it is a clever idea, it didn't really take down the dragon because of the alchemy in the air. So Gray came up with something else in mind, by freezing the air itself, causing suffocation to both him and Varanus. It is discovered that the air wasn't frozen by regular magic, but by his devil-slaying magic, and he finished him off with both devil-slaying magic and enchanted dragon-slaying magic. I have to give credit to this chapter. It wasn't just some random power-up to defeat the bad guy this time around. Gray has always found a unique way to outsmart his opponent with the ability he knows. I have to give it to Gray, he really stood out in this chapter. Now with Varanus defeated, the Lacrima was exposed from his body and Selene destroyed it and then created a portal for them. Meanwhile, Natsu and Happy are flying towards Urza, and there, he spots her facing someone who he thought was Ignia. Gray, Selene, Carla, and Wendy transported to Lucy's location. They have a discussion about destroying both Lacrimas on both their sides. And now Selene, now on the human side, asks Morphobia to help them, but sadly he doesn't have the power to fight. But he does have the will to believe in the humans they'll fight on his behalf. Now we get recasts of the previous events from the beginning to the current chapters. It is nice to get refreshed because honestly I was losing track of what's going on as there's so much happening. There is the Dragon Quest, there is Ignia, there is the Dragonification, there's Ferris and her demon service fighting against the Arashionseis, there's Lucy getting Aquarius back along with the key of the water dragon god. Gray and Wendy have to deal with Selene and Varanus, Natsu storming into Ignia's castle and has to deal with Brian, Happy befriends Misfortune, Urza travels to Jamil to get the chaos under control and facing against Wed, who turns out to be Ignia's son. There is Ferris, who is dealing with another member of the Fire and Flames Guild known as Bestia after Ignia took off and with Misfortune following him. And now the team's all together again, including Selene. Yeah, that is a lot. There are some things that can easily get looked over, mostly because it's not relevant to the plot or just happened in a brief moment. So anyways, Natsu and the others have made their way to Urza's location. They all notice Wed had the same face as Ignia and quickly realize that he's his son, which caused Natsu to jump to the conclusion that he will be his child. No, Natsu, he wouldn't be your son, he'd be your nephew. Selene takes off to take on Alderaan, and now Natsu's team was against the members of the Fire and Flames, but this time they're all dragonized. With Gray fighting against Lekka, Lucy and Wendy are dealing with the Sonaro sisters, and Urza is still dealing with Wed. Natsu quickly took down Raj and then attacks Wed. Natsu decided to go all out and attacked with his Fire Dragon King Demolition Strike. So now Gray is going to try his Maker Magic, but it gets blocked by Luca's Flame Shield. One of the sisters attacked Wendy and Lucy from behind, and the other one attacked Urza. Gray gets attacked by both Lekka and Reg, and Natsu gets attacked by Wed. Yep, this familiar trait has risen in this chapter, which is the heroes getting beaten down, but hey, they won't give up, which is what I see here, having Natsu make a speech about their bond. Now we see Selene make her way to Alderaan, but then she notices an explosion from inside him, which shows that one of the members of the Irration 6, Richard, has been defeated. Cobra heard it and realized that Richard has fallen, but he also realized that his opponent could hear his thoughts. Looks like Cobra's got his work cut out for him. The opponent known as Blade has the ability to read their thoughts but not hear them. There is actually a difference between that. Cobra can hear the voices in Blade's head knowing what he's thinking, but with Blade he can't hear the voice in Cobra's head, but he's reading and studying his every move and quickly adapt with knowledge of a counterattack. At least that's what I think. Now with this ability, Blade attacked Cobra with a second strike. Meanwhile, Sario is struggling with her opponent as the demon was too strong. Her angel powers didn't work, so she tried her celestial powers, but that was a bust as well. You know what? It's been such a long time since I actually seen Scenario summon a celestial spirit, and because of that, I almost forgot that she was a celestial wizard. It's kind of embarrassing. But either way, it didn't really do her any good because she got defeated, and it's disappointing. It's even more disappointing for Medley and every member going down one by one. But Racer gave a speech that gave Cobra the motivation to fight back. Cobra swarmed himself in poison that could consume everything in its path, but Blade still managed to slice through that poison, but his sword gets affected by it, causing it to deteriorate. But Blade thrusts his sword into Cobra. However, Cobra was expecting and released all the poison around Blade, causing him to deteriorate as he turned into a book titled Blade. So they're books that Ferris have as the consult of the Book of Zareth. Now we see Racer dealing with his opponent when he suddenly gets a flashback during a time when Melody contacted all the members of the Irration 6. She lets them know about the resurrection of Zero, their former master, but they don't want anything to do with Zero or their past lives. But Melody involved herself in this case because she was thinking about Altair, who is like a mother to her, and she believes there are things they must settle, but the members have their doubts about this. But Macbeth questioned if they are really free, but as the memories fade into the present, Racer had the sense of morality to the terms of his freedom, which is the will to keep fighting, and he finished off his opponent. Now Macbeth is dealing with Zero, who seem to be on equal grounds within the fight. However, when it seems like Macbeth has the upper hand, Zero's personality changes into Brain's personality. Zero switched his personality to Brain to eliminate Macbeth's purification magic, and switched back to Zero to take him down. Now 4 of the Irration 6 are down, which leaves with Medley, who is struggling as she was trapped within the dark area within one of the demon gates. The demon was surprised that she's still alive, and just she's about to get executed, she got surprisingly rescued by Juvia. She managed to find her because of the magic link, but she isn't the only one that came. There's Elfman, Mirajane, and Gagiel. So we have Gagiel facing against Zero, Elfman will fight the guy who took down Richard, and Mirajane will handle the chick who defeated Sonaro, and Juvia is faced against this demon. But Juvia only came to see Gray as usual, but she decided to help Melody. She noticed that the demons can open gates, which got Juvia to think of him as a love rival since the gate reminds her of Lucy. Yeah, she's never gonna get over this, is she? The demon opened the pearl, and when Juvia sliced water into it, it came through another gate, but instead of the water, it was a tree that came down on her. The demon opened another portal that absorbed the tree, and another one popped up behind Juvia and attacked her with fire. fire. But Juvia's water protected her and she went for a direct attack, but the demon opened up another gate and this time her hand gets sucked into it. She noticed the other gate with the wood element had a hand coming out. She noticed something about the gates, and so she pulled her own hand out and the wooden hand retracted itself. She started to notice a pattern of elements. She threw dirt into one of the portals in front of the demon, and that dirt turned into metal from another portal. Juvia figures out that there is a connection within the portals. She was thinking about how Lucy and her spirits would be useful to her at the moment, but then she suddenly got an idea. The demon opened another portal known as the Gate of Death that pulled both Juvia and Melody. But before they get sucked into it, Juvia sliced off a piece of the wood and threw it in one of the portals, which caused the fire to spread out from another portal. She repeated the same method to the other portals and then transformed herself into a mermaid, attacking the last portal in front of the demon. That gate can't absorb her water because it got blocked, including the rest of the gates, which caused the demon to overflow and destroyed. The demon transformed back into a book and Juvia is thinking about Gray. And speaking of Gray, he and the others are still dealing with the members of the Fires and Flames. But then there is a crack above their head and Ferris and Bestia came down. This is the first time Gray, Urza, Lucy, Wendy, and Carla have seen Dark Ferris. And one of the members of the Fire and Flames called out Bestia's name, which remind Happy and Natsu about what Miss Fortune said about Natsu eating Bestia's flames. Wet said that Bestia is a leader along with Ignia. Bestia took Ferris into another portal with Natsu missing his grub, but Wet attacked him from behind with his sword, but Natsu's flame melted the sword right before it touched his body. Natsu goes Super Saiyan and melts all the clothes on everyone, and then he mocks the members of the Fire and Flames of not being real dragons and gives them a full blast, showing the powers of a real dragon. Meanwhile, Selene is attacked by Alderaan and the two start to get into a brawl. Next is Gajio going up against Zero, which I think is interesting because this is the first time these two interacted with each other. Zero is aware of Gajio's past with the Phantom Lord Guild and his former guildmaster Jose. Zero suggests that Jose would be the father of Gajio as he was his former guildmaster, but Gajio rearranged that thought and told Zero that the only father he's ever known is Makarov. There was a lot going on, and I love the narration giving a recap of the previous volume. It is nice that the narration gives the readers a refreshment, that way people can help catch up. There are Juvia, Mira Jane, Gajio, and Elfman helping out with the others with the demons. Which I'm not gonna lie, I was upset that they showed up. But don't get me wrong, I love seeing them again. But the fact that they came to deal with something that the Arasion Sace was built up and prepared for was kind of a letdown. But I will say this, I am excited to see Elfman's fight since we didn't get it that much before. There's also a great spotlight for Gray, for showing the audience the unique way of using Maker Magic and Devil Slayer magic against an opponent that's immune to all magic. Not to mention that Juvia's battle was entertaining to watch. I do like it when a character plays smart when it comes to battles. It's kind of a past reference that Juvia and Aquarius do have some kind of connection even though they don't interact with each other that often. But it's still a good reference. But what is also good is the build-up between the fights of Mira Jane, Elfman, and Gajio. This volume does have a lot going on and good build-up to the upcoming battles. That was my analysis and thoughts on the volume, and I'd like to hear yours by sharing your opinions. Thanks for watching. If you like, please leave a like, and if you want to see more, you may subscribe and hit that notification button. I'll see you all next time.